Hello everyone, my name is Dani and welcome to my channel Current Chapter. Today I am here with a book haul of all my books. I wanted to do this video in a very informal, chatty way, just to tell you guys about all the books that I have with me here in my new place. If you follow me on my Instagram, you probably remember seeing a bookshelf filled with books. I actually had two bookshelves in the place I lived before, one with books that I read and one on my TBR shelf that probably had more books than the other one. And I also have a bookshelf at my mom's apartment, which is in another city in Brazil. So I do have a lot of books. I don't have them with me. I don't know when we'll be able to ship all of our books here. As we were planning to move to Canada, I started to pack all of our books, mine and my husband's, in boxes, and I did it in a very organized way. I scanned each book as I was put in a box and I put them in a shelf on Goodreads so I would know in which box each book is. So when we finally figure out how to ship all of our books to Canada from Brazil, if you know anything on how to do that, please let me know, because the ways that we saw so far are way too expensive. I put all the books in different boxes. There's one box that has all the books that we're most excited to read, and the other ones are gradually less important, let's say. So all of our books are in Brazil in boxes, and some of my books are at my mom's place, so they're everywhere. We did pick a few books to bring, more than a few, books to bring with us in our suitcases, not as much as we wanted because weight limits. But yeah, so I wanted to do a book haul of the books that I brought with me and also the books that I already bought here in Canada. So first let's start with the book that we brought with us. The first one I have here is Robin Hood. I bought two books in this edition. It's a Brazilian publisher that did this really cute classics in this pocket hardcover versions, and I got The Nutcracker and Robin Hood. I read The Nutcracker right before we traveled here, so that went in a box, and Robin Hood I brought with me because I was very excited to read it. Then we have Kowai, which you probably saw my April TBR. I'm planning on reading this month. I have read only the first short story. It's a book of horror short stories. So this is also a Brazilian book. When we already knew that we were coming here, we had this gift card that we spent everything in books, and we bought a lot of Brazilian books that we wouldn't be able to buy here, or it would be harder to find. So one of those that we got was Perfect Days, that I already talked about in my last wrap-up. And the two fairy tale ones that I also read in March and I talked about in my wrap-up. These are also Brazilian books that we would never be able to find here, so we brought them with us because we were excited to read them. We also brought this edition of Phantom of the Opera. It's a bilingual edition with Portuguese and French. So one side of the page is Portuguese, the other side is French. And this is really good to learn and just compare both languages, so we really wanted to bring this. We also got two other books from this publisher, also Portuguese, French, but those are in boxes because we couldn't bring them all. Another book that I have, it's actually the oldest book that I have here with me, is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. This is a horror story told in a very different format. It's a very experimental book, that's what people say, and I read like 100 pages of it, 100 pages in the beginning, maybe 30 in the end, because the way you read it is not linear. I chose this book to bring because it's big. I've had this for a long time and I'm really excited to read it. It's kind of a complicated story because it's a story within a story within a story, and there's so much happening. I brought this because I didn't know when I would be able to buy new books here, and this would keep me entertained for a long time because it's long. What else? So we also brought two books from the second era of Mistborn. These are my husband's. I haven't read Mistborn yet. I really want to, but he kind of told me as he was reading the first era, so I know everything already. I'm going to wait a little bit to read that. I do want to read my other Brandon Sanderson books before I read Mistborn, just because I know that story already. But he read the first one right before we came here, so we brought 2 and 3, and he already read those as well. We also have Thunderhead, this is the Brazilian version, and Scythe. I don't have Scythe here with me because he's reading that now, and it's his commute book. He's almost done with that. I'm sure he's going to want to pick this up. I already read both, but we brought them so he could read it because I really wanted him to read these books. I also brought Nevernight. This was a gift in a readers group Secret Santa thing that I did last year. I'm really excited to read it, so that's why I brought it. He also got, I always forget the name of this book in English, The Slow Regard of Silent Things. This is a spin-off companion to Name of the Wind, which is also my husband's. I haven't read The Name of the Wind. He also told me everything that happens. I will read those books, just might take a while. Also brought City of Brass that I started in January, so I had to bring this to finish. And I did. I talked about it in my March wrap-up. And these were all the books that we brought with us. The other books are all that we bought, but all books that we bought here. So first I'm going to talk about the books that I bought thinking about the Magical Readathon. That was really just an excuse to buy the highest priority books on my wish list. And those are Illuminate. I'm so excited to read this book. The Duology of Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I read the Grisha trilogy last year and I really loved it. I'm really excited to read these books. And I really wanted the pretty sprayed edges edition. We don't have these editions in Brazil. And I've heard, so I didn't check that, but I've heard that the Six of Crows map in the Brazilian edition is the same map from the Grisha trilogy, which is kind of a problem if you've read the Grisha trilogy and know the ending. I just thought it was weird, like why wouldn't you fix the map? I didn't check, I don't know if that's true, but I wanted the original version to make sure I have the right map. I also got Hazelwood, that's also on my April TBR, and Nevermore, that's the one I'm currently reading. As you can see, I am absolutely loving this. The last 3 books I have here are books that I got. Two of them were on my wish list, but I wasn't planning on buying them right now. But I found them at a used bookstore and they're really cheap. So Monster Calls that I read last month, also loved. I talked about on my March wrap-up. Then we have Waking Gods by Sylvain Novelle. This is the second and the theme is Files and it's signed by the author. So excited. I really like the first one. I don't have the one physical, but I'm so excited to have this one. And The Strain. This is by Guillermo del Toro and Chuck Hogan. I don't know much about it. It's a vampire book, so that's already exciting. That made me want to read it. But apparently it's a TV show. I didn't know that, but my husband watched the TV show and he really loved it. And this book's also gorgeous, and it was cheap. And now he wants me to read this book before we can watch the TV show. He can rewatch it with me together because it's apparently really good. And those are all my books. So my bookshelf is empty right now. I am excited to bring all the books from Brazil here. I don't know when that's going to happen, but there are some of my favorite books there, some that I haven't read yet, some beautiful editions of books that I just want back on my bookshelf. But I don't know that one that's gonna happen, and that's okay. We planned for this, we knew that it might take a while. But now you can see my bookshelf grow with me. When those books arrive, I will do a huge unboxing of my own books. I'm so excited to do that. Let me know if you've read any of these books. I hope you're excited to see my bookshelf grow with me. And I hope it doesn't take too long. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Click the bell icon so you get notifications whenever I post new videos. Thank you so much. Bye!